was an ad in my recording app for a video game. So look, in the era of the progressive era, whatever it might be called, the era of progressives, there was something developed called the National Farming Association, or something similar. I'm trying to find the exact name here. All right, let's find out. I guess I'll click the first one. The National Recovery Act. That's what it was. It was about like farmers and stuff. I mean, I think so. So, video games that have stuff like farming, there's going to be all right. Okay, so I'm reading this article for the first time after sharing it. Nowadays, in modern times, as if I was like a mod or a modernist. After the National Rifle Association sort of took the name of the National Recovery Act, they made a target simulator, and someone who no one knows who he is, someone that isn't me, Gizmo, writes, he made an NRA simulator targeting the heads of the NRA. I don't know what happened here. Oh. This one. Okay, so right now I'm just doing a standard pose with my arm behind my back, holding my glasses, trying to stretch my shoulder. So I had a lot of problemo, yes, problem. I didn't set this couch up like this, but this is something called a massage GUN. Physical therapist Bob and Brad on YouTube helped me when first my tennis elbow developed here. I was carrying my scooter like this, kind of like it was a flagpole up in the air. I was holding it like this, and I heard a pop, and I was like, oh. And so in my early 20s, when men are very, very vulnerable, this video is sort of based on late great, can't think of his name, who had the music video Self-Care just after his relationship breakup with Ariana Grande. And that's after Dua Lipa hosted Saturday Night Live last Saturday. So now it's Monday, and I was going to go, I take my dad to physical therapy. I wear a physical therapy shirt that was my mother's. And long story short, after lifting my dad so much, he's close to 300 pounds, it really contributed to the tennis elbow. It happened when I was carrying my scooter, hoisting it in the air like a flag. But, yeah. So in my early 20s, I had something called turf toe that football players get. And it's because I never stretched my foot like this. I just wouldn't do it for anybody, not even myself, not even once. When I was in my car driving, it'd be like this. And I'd stretch it this way, pull it. But no, I'd never press it down. And I had to learn the hard way when I was struggling up to the third flight of stairs when I was delivering food. I decided that running's not working up the stairs, walking's not working up the stairs, so I made a combination of a run-walk. And no one ever demonstrates this except for Tony Montana in the early scenes of Scarface, going up a set of stairs into the hotel room. Long story short, it took me years of pain and suffering to figure, years, I'm talking about 10 years of pain and suffering in my heels and everything to be able to heal it, H-E-A-L, heal my heel, H-E-E-L of my foot. This is a heel, en anglais in English. So, same thing happened with my tennis elbow and my wrist because my forearm, there was a lot of pain. And that was last year. I made a recent video about it. I'm reading in Robert Greene's 33 Strategies at page 200 in chapter 15, section 4 of the 33 Strategies of War. of controlling the dynamic, aka forcing strategies. So, poor ATV man who was flying through the park on his ATV and found a roadblock. There was a roadblock and he flew off and he made the sound like, whoa. That was an example of a forcing strategy. It's like, kind of like, stop hitting yourself, you know what I mean? That's a forcing strategy. And there's no reversal to that law. There's very few of the 33 strategies that have no reversal, and even fewer than the 48 Laws of Power, the first book in the trilogy. 33 strategies, the third book. And the symbol of the chapter is the boxer. And I don't remember what it is, but it's a square wall of text like this with a hole in the middle. And it says the boxer. And then the very next chapter is the center of gravity strategy. Strategy 16. And I'm pretty sure there's a reversal to that. And that would be flanking maneuvers and stuff. But long story short of it, at the center of our body is like the center of gravity, somewhere around here. The upper body, it's up here. But, I watched I was going to go to my dad's physical therapist today, and I watched old Bob and Brad. Pray for Bob. Bob's had, in the last couple of years, very bad health problems, and he's even stopped making videos. So it's just Brad now, and I pray that Bob's still alive. It's pretty bad. Watching his, I was on the verge of tears watching his final videos on their channel. They're the biggest physical therapists on YouTube. But long story short, I watched their brief video today showing how the chest muscle connects to the shoulder muscle. You know what? My video is reversed. This is not my left side over here. This is my right side. So I'm going to look at the bright side and lay down and do some self-care after my injury last year. All right, so this is a massage gun, and hold to press to turn on. Tap to change to the highest setting. 1, 2, 3. It sounds like a combustion motor, but it's not. And as soon as I watched their video and realized that just like I had to stretch my feet and my wrist, now I got to stretch my shoulder. I never thought I had shoulder problems. Am I in the video? Yeah. So, I have an ice pack that's in the freezer now. It's not cold though. So in between freezing the ice pack, because I was like, I got to go to like a sports therapist, because I've seen videos where guys tear their chest muscles, the entire thing. I'm talking about their entire chest muscle, and it bubbles up in a giant bubble. It's really scary. I don't know how they fix that, or if it can be fixed. But I've also seen there's a famous bodybuilder with an Italian last name who very infamously on Instagram, his girlfriend posted the last video of him being alive, and he was having sort of like a diabetic shock moment and leaning up against his bed with his legs standing up, trying to make a bag, I guess to go to the hospital. But that was his last video. The paramedics found him dead. And that's why I haven't been starving myself to try to get into shape. I've been trying to do it in a very healthy way, eating breakfast, eating lunch, eating dinner, trying not to starve myself. But I kind of have to, everything that I'm doing as far as fitness goes has to kind of be put on a shelf while I try to heal myself. I also had I developed a broken tooth from, my whole life. I chewed on the right side of my face, and after enough time of eating candy, first time it happened was on this couch watching TV, Jawbreakers, chipped a part of my tooth, so they put a filling, and some 10 years later, a piece of taffy pulled it off, and it was really scary. So now I have a crown, and it's so complicated I can't even really talk about it. Sometimes the nerves build up in my tooth, pain nerves, and then I chew too hard and the pain nerves are squished and I stop feeling the pain, and then they grow back. And yeah, overall, it's very complicated. And I was chewing on the left side of my face that I had no practice with my whole life. And people talk about certain injuries like tennis elbow changing the part of a brain that a person uses and having to relearn it, and then becoming kind of ambidextrous if they make it through the whole process. But yeah, Mac Miller's video, Self-Care, he's laying in a coffin just like this. And, I'm pressing my shoulder down. At first, I kind of felt like I had to stretch it forward. It looks like a simple joint, but it's not. It's very complex. And I made a lot of changes to my forearm, but I didn't realize this whole time that I was pulling and it was tugging the muscle fibers of my shoulder. I never felt it until I felt it today. On the right side, or on my other side, opposite side, I don't feel it. I don't feel the knots and everything. There's no knots. Like, I'm feeling all over. I don't feel the knots. But, this is really getting it. So the back of my shoulder is still fine, but it's just on the front where it's most important. I thought it was the bicep at first. The bicep is pretty much just a cosmetic muscle. It's not really that important. Maybe I should focus on my tricep on the back as well. But I feel a million times better. And so what Robert Greene talks about at the end of strategy in chapter 15, forcing strategies, he says, the most insidious game of all is when people tell you that they had tennis elbow and they're over it. That's the most insidious game of all. That's why all these years later, Robert Greene's in his 60s now, he still comes out with Ryan Holiday when he meets up with Ryan Holiday to have this contraption he made for his forearm that it's like a square missing the top so he can put his arm in, and he turns it upside down, and it like holds his wrist perfectly straight. Like you know how a cat conserves their energy by not doing anything? They're so lazy. Robert Greene talks about that, I think, in his first book. But in chapter 15, he talks about hypnotherapist, kind of like a psychologist, or regular therapist, or psychiatrist. Milton Erickson, the late 40s and 50s, became famous for hypnotherapy and something called the heart attack technique of passive aggression, of making people feel guilty all the time. So my father, bless his heart, has a lot of health problems over the years, and he's approaching 300 pounds. And I was lifting him up, lifting weights, trying to stay in shape so that I could better care for my father. But unfortunately, over time, when my sister was hospitalized last year, every good practice and habit that I had, I couldn't focus on. I was so concerned about my sister. Like, my heart was like out for her. It was like, I never felt this sort of pain. It was like, they say the moon was originally a piece of the earth, and an asteroid hit the earth, and the moon broke off into a chunk and went into outer space, and that's how it became the moon. That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like to me. That's how significant it was in our lives, of my family. My brother and sister and mother and father. That's my family. My immediate family. And I think it's close to Mother's Day, but if it wasn't yesterday, I hope I didn't miss it. So he talks about Milton Erickson's technique. It's like the scene in with Milton in Office Space, and what's his name? The main character, when he goes to the counseling with his girlfriend, kind of like marriage counseling. Peter goes to marriage counseling with his girlfriend, and the hypnotherapist has a heart attack while he's putting him into a trance. And Peter gets stuck in the trance, and that's the whole plot of the movie, is that he just doesn't care about anything anymore. He gets stuck in the hypnotized, like he'd had a a few shots of whiskey, and it was the perfect amount, and like never had a hangover or ever had to drink again. That's actually, funny enough, how I feel today. I don't know what I did yesterday, but it's all natural. I made a mistake of drinking coffee today after swearing it off for like the dozenth time. I've taken long breaks from coffee, and I realized because of the acidic nature of my emotional therapist, did I watch Katie Morton with an M on YouTube. She's like the biggest star. She was originally from California. I think she moved to Texas though. And she looks like the villain, the Terminator in Terminator 3. It's a female, like a fembot. Women are from Venus and female robots are from Mars. But long story short, I've been working on taking over the Earth like Pinky in the Brain for 18 years, almost 20 years in StarCraft. And I just realized yesterday, I was setting my sights too low. I gotta take over the universe and start with the solar system. So I'm changing my StarCraft Risk Edition, my Risk Earth Edition, just like the regular Risk. Hasbro came out with a StarCraft Risk with the actual little units and everything. But you can't play Risk without dice. Andrew Dice Clay. It's going to be flying units, no ground units. I'm going to have the planets: Mars, Earth, Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto, maybe if Pluto's good, and of course the Sun. And then we'll have flying units. So you try to take over the different planets, and by landing on the moon and scooting in there, and it's going to be great. And I don't know. I got a Marvin the Martian wearing a army garb that Bing image designer made me. But yeah, I mean, I get in the video there. I started a lot of topics, but I didn't wrap any of them up that I can think of. But yeah, the most insidious game of all is someone saying, "Oh, I had the surgery and I got over it." It makes people think that, we're invincible or something. That's, how I injured myself in the first place, thinking I was invincible, like Boris from GoldenEye. I am invincible, right before he gets frozen by the, whatever it is, in GoldenEye. He's not a villain, but he becomes a villain by working with the villain. He's Natalia's colleague, co-worker. Not Natalia. I don't remember her name. That's why I'm going to make this video. This whole video just to say, oh, that's rough. That's where my chest muscle connects to my shoulder muscle. So I'm singing Enigma's one of their 2 hit songs. And I didn't realize how much I sound like good old, what's his name? That's right on my sternum. Ow. Ow. I'm just thinking of South Park's Ned. They're coming right for us. Oh, it's not funny. It's not funny, Sonny. Sonny Evans on GTA. Video game streamer on GTA. So that's all.